Hey everyone, this is NHL News Report. So back in the video, one time blowing about the Montreal Canadiens and the trade they had on that three-way trade between Pittsburgh, San Jose, and the Habs. Um, Massive deal. This all happened because Erik Karlsson going to the Penguins and the Habs helped out, and they got a good stuff back in return for the price to help out the Penguins and the Sharks move some cap around. So I want to talk about it. So let's get into it here. Um, I want to look at the team before we look at the trade here. You look at what we have now. Here's the updated roster. No Hoffman, no Pitlick. They are gone from the forward group. Looking at defense, we add Jeff Petrie back to the forward group. We'll talk about that. But let's talk about the forward group at first here. So you have Suzuki, Gallagher, Anderson, Dvorak, Armia, Doc, Newhook, Evans, Hobby Pennard, Pizzetta, and Leonin. Those are the guys on the roster right now. A little bit different, right? Without Hoffman and Pitlick. Nice to get those guys off the books. Even though Pitlick was, not, I wouldn't mind keeping him, but, that even opens up another space for another young player to come in and prove something. What if he plays really well? If we had Hoffman or Pitlick, you'll be putting one of the guys or maybe even both of the guys on waivers. I was reading an article couple weeks ago about Hoffman, and if one of these young guys from training camp comes in and plays really well, Hoffman would find himself on waivers because no one's going to take him. Well, here we are now. Hoffman goes to the Sharks in the Erik Karlsson deal, right? So you don't have to worry about that. You have room for young guys to come in, and if they play well, like Waugh and Farrell and Heineman and Machar and guys like that, if anyone else I'm missing, right? They come in and play well, they get a spot in the lineup. And even though it would be nice to move Yoel Mia 2 years at $3.4 million, there's still room for young guys to come in and play the game, knowing that also Christian Dvorak will not be starting the season with the Habs. He'll be on injured reserve, knowing that also opens up a spot in the opening day lineup. So that's also out there. So there is spots for young players to come in and prove themselves on the Habs. So, really nice to see that. Newhook can get even more of an opportunity to play down the middle or in the ring, um, knowing that he has the prime opportunity to play with Cole Caulfield, Cole Caulfield, Sean Monahan, and Yoris Sikorsky are injured. So I'm like, who are we missing here? I'm like, I knew someone we were missing. Those guys, they haven't put him back on the lineup. But yes, Sikorsky and Caulfield definitely are guys, um, that you're having the lineup too. But it's nice just to move on to those two guys and have what we have now. Moving on now to the defense. We have Mike Matheson, Jeff Petrie, David Savard, Jordan Harris, Justin Barron, Caden Gooley, Jonathan Kovacevic, Chris Weidman, and Albo Jacki. Right? Missing anyone? All right, good. So that's who we have. Very solid defense. The thing is, you add Petrie to this. Who do you scratch? Who do you bench for the game? Do you want to bench Harris? No, not really. Barron? No, not one. I don't want to do that either. Caden Gooley? No. Kovacevic? Probably not. Jacki? No. So who do you bench? Like Chris Weidman's kind of that guy. Plus, you put him in the lineup once in a while, right? But now you add Petrie. There's got to be a trade in the books here. You know, um, Obviously Pittsburgh retained part of the salary. Petrie, now it's down to 4.687 thousand. There, 4.687 million now. Um, but you look at that, and 2 years if you retain it, 2.4, 50%. Anyone can really take that. I know he has a 15-no trade clause, but hey, someone can find a deal. Half the league, I'm sure, maybe be able to do it. We'll see how it goes. Might have to wait until the season starts, but we'll see how that all works out for Jeff Petrie and the Habs. Moving on to the goaltending here. Jake Allen, Casey DeSmith, and Samuel Montembeault is what we have here. Obviously, Montembeault is the cheapest out of them all, and he's going to be our number one. Doesn't mean that Allen's getting traded. $3.85 million. 1.8 million is Casey DeSmith. A little bit better numbers last year with DeSmith over Allen, even though I still like Allen a lot. But DeSmith, last year on his deal, just brought him in. What does this mean? You also have Kaden Premu, as he does not have waiver exempt anymore. So all four goalies between Allen, DeSmith, Montembeault, and Premu will have to go through waivers. Obviously, Montembeault's not going through waivers. So Allen, DeSmith, and Premu, if they put them in the minors, have to go through waivers. We'll see how that goes for them. So that's what we have. We'll see how things go. But now let's look at the trade. I want to look at it one more time on the Habs' perspective of things. $1.562 million retained. 25% of Jeff Petry's contract. On Jeff Petry's contract, if you look at it, it is 6.25. So retained on the deal. Like I said, Casey DeSmith, Nathan Legill, and a 2025 second round pick, which is great to get for giving up Hoffman and Pitlick. Pretty cool. Getting a second round pick. Whoever thought giving up Hoffman, you get a second round pick? Well, you bring a contract back the other way with Jeff Petry, right? But hey, great asset management here and moving things around and finding a way, and Montreal native here and Legill here, so we'll see what happens. But I think the Habs did really well here, and I think it's something that's going to help them. If they can move Petry and give him more picks, that would be even better. So we'll see what happens. You look at the Habs trades this season. All right, that was the deadline. So you're talking about Newhook going to the Habs, Gianna Fairbrother, first round pick, second round pick, goes to the Avalanche. And you look at another guy you trade, Joe Edmondson, goes to the Capitals, third round pick of 2024, and a seventh round pick. And they have this massive deal that just happened, right? So we'll see what happens. You got to think the Habs aren't done. They got to trade Petry. They got to trade a goalie here. I don't really like the three goalie idea, but we'll see what happens, what Hughes does here. Maybe he gets more draft picks at this point. So we'll see what happens. I do love how the Habs have done here. You look at what people think, how the Habs have done. People say Penguins first, but Canadiens not too far behind. I do think the Sharks made up really well. Quick reasoning. You get a first round pick. I know it's top 10 protected, but I know you get Hoffman. You can swap him at the deadline, get some picks for him at the deadline. Maybe a pick. 50% retained, right? Granlund, you might be able to move him. I don't know. He has 2 years left, right? Or this year, next year, right? So that's going to be harder. And Jan Ruda, I know he has this year, next year, but if you retain a little of that, they're not going anywhere anytime soon, the Sharks. They're on the rebuilding team. You might get some picks for them too. But the greatest thing about that for the Sharks is they didn't have to retain 50%. All they had to retain is 13%. 1.5 million. So send 10 million to the Sharks and just freed up a bunch of cap. Quite crazy, isn't it? So, hey, we'll see what happens. And thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts on this. Just further thoughts. I want to talk about the Habs here and more what I think about it, right? Instead of all three teams. But thank you for watching. See you next video.